Okay, it's perilously close to 1 o'clock, so we'll call the meeting to order and welcome to all those online and everyone here in the chambers today. So I'd ask everyone to stand as you're able and we'll sing "O Canada."
O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Thank you. And from up here, it's hard to tell which side's singing the better because everybody's singing so loud. In any case, as we gather, we recognize and acknowledge the traditional keepers of this land with whom we share today. The township of Southgate is part of the traditional territories of the Anishinaabe, Six Nations of the Grand River, the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation, Haudenosaunee, and Saugeen Métis. The land that surrounds us is part of who we are as it reflects our histories. May we live in peace and friendship with all its diverse people. I got on a roll there. I apologize. The deputy mayor was supposed to do that. Madam Clerk, is anyone registered for open forum today?
No, none today, Mayor.
Thank you. Need a confirmation of the agenda as presented. Jason will second. Any discussion? All those in favor? That is carried. Is there any declaration of interest related to any matter on today's agenda? Not hearing any. If one should arise, you of course can declare it at any time. I don't believe there's any delegations or presentations. Yes, I do. I guess I would have got to that eventually, but yeah, I don't even know what section it is, but I will declare that when we get to that part of the meeting. We have no delegations or presentations. I apologize. I'm over a cold, but it's hanging in there pretty tough with a cold and or with a cough and stuffed up. Okay. Adoption of the minutes from the March 18th, 2026 council and closed session meetings. Martin will move that. Barb will second. Any discussion? All those in favor? That is carried. Reports of municipal officers, and we're going to start this morning with emergency services. I believe Chief Melnick is online. He brings us a report regarding Ontario Emergency Preparedness Grant. Someone move that we receive that. Jim and Joan will second. Welcome, Chief. Floor is yours, sir.
Good afternoon, members of council and through the mayor. This report is just to provide information that we were successful in the Community Emergency Preparedness Grant from the provincial government for the amount of $44,150.40. We are seeking council's blessing for a single source purchase on this one. We did receive one quote when we registered for the application through Larry Hartman, Hartman Communication. He has been our radio provider for years. He built the public works system. He's handled all of our fire radio systems as well. And due to the application process with all the municipalities, we didn't want to go out and get multiple quotes for this proposed item. And honestly, we didn't think that we would get awarded it. So we're very happy that we were able to be awarded the contract or the grant for this. And under the purchasing policy, talking with myself and the treasurer, we believe single source clause B and I do apply for this for this grant, so we are covered under our purchasing policy. But again, we just want council's blessing to go ahead with it. And this will upgrade our public works radio system, but also add an extra channel for use of emergencies. So we'll be able to communicate across the municipality if cell phones were not working. And I'll take any questions.
Thank you, sir. Are there any questions? Martin, go ahead, please.
Yeah, hi Derek. Congratulations on the grant. I was just wondering, I'm not a techie, but with all the digital and the upgrades, would the analog system still be used as a backup? If God forbid there was anything that the system was down for a day, like things like that happening?
So for the mayor, no. So analog and digital is just a different frequency. Analog's better for short range through cement, stuff like that. Where digital, you'll get a longer range, more kind of clear message as well. So the whole system will convert to digital, but they will have that backup channel too. So if the public works, it'll be two different repeaters. So if there was an issue with the one repeater for public works, if there wasn't an emergency, they could switch over to the EOC channel for that day until it was rectified, and vice versa. But I don't foresee there being a problem. It's basically a mirror image of what our fire system is through Grey County. And Hartman Communications is very good at monitoring the system, listening to it. And if there's any issues, he will go out 24 hours, 7 days a week to fix it. So,
And I'm not a techie, but I've learned something today. So there we go. Sounds great. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Martin. Any other questions? Okay, not seeing any. I'll call the question. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you, sir. Moving on to the next is the Recreation Department. We have a very fulsome report here from our Director of Recreation, Kevin Green, regarding recreation plans update. Manager, Director, I don't know, Kevin Green. Yeah. So I need, before you start, you need a mover and seconder to receive. Jim and Barb, thank you. Go ahead, sir. Floor is yours.
Thank you, through you, worship. The plans are in here. I'm really just going to go through the presentation because it's a summary of the plans. At the end, if there's questions on the specific plans themselves, I will take them. But this is the annual report from Recreation to Council. So I'll just go directly into the presentation.
Please.
So the second slide in the presentation it just states that in the action plan, we're recognizing the trends and themes, and these are the ones we specifically are looking at, mostly minor sports and some of the other trends and themes that are driving what our decision making is in the future. The big one that's affecting us right now is the minor hockey one. So after this season, we are down 170 hours in ice rentals, which is the equivalent of about $25,000. A lot of that is from what's here in the slide. So OMHA changed the rules on residencies. So now you can go wherever you want. Our local minor hockey lost about 20% of their organization to somebody else. The organization to the south of us lost 25% of their organization to somebody else. And we were relying pretty heavy on ice rentals through our local, and the Shelburne Minor Hockey used up to 5 hours last year that they did not use this year. So part of that is in this slide, we have 4 minor hockey organizations within a 15-minute drive. We have 8 minor hockey organizations within a 30-minute drive. We have 8 regional organizations within an hour's drive, and 3 major organizations. And when I say major, I mean Kitchener, Brampton, and Barrie, within an hour 15. So our local organization either has to be absolutely spectacular to draw kids in, or this is the trends and themes of minor hockey that parents are going to go somewhere else. So us being down 170 hours is not helping our facility. The other problem we have is we have 10 standalone arenas within a 30-minute drive. And ORFA right now predicts that 25% of the indoor ice rinks will cease operations within the next 10 years due to the cost of management and the cost of replacement. So And the other thing that's happening is now where are we heading with users covering the cost of running the facility versus municipal support of running the facility? I know some of the arenas to the south are running $300,000 deficits on their facilities. We're running 160. So we are managing it fairly well, but that works out to close to every hour we're running right now. The taxpayer is subsidizing ice rentals by $100. 5, 10 years ago, I did that math and we were subsidizing each user by $50. So our costs have gone up that much and our ice rentals have dropped. Last time I did it, we were running around 1,300 hours a season. Now we were at 975 in hours. So that's going to come into play too on the arena and trends in minor hockey. And to replace our 750, what are we now, 52-year-old building, it's going to cost us over $30 million now for a standalone arena. So that's the trends in minor hockey. Minor baseball, the problem with minor baseball is there's two organizations fighting for the same number of kids. You've got baseball and you've got softball, and the two have no plans, I don't believe, to work together. So as long as we have two organizations fighting for the rural kids, it's going to struggle, or the organizations are going to struggle to have enough kids to make baseball successful. Now, as we increase our demographics in Dundalk and the Blue Jays last year going to the World Series, there's probably going to be an uptake in registrations. And so point of this is, I believe we'll still need the ball diamonds that we have in our future plans. Minor basketball is taking off because of the Raptors. Right now, there's new organizations starting up. I think Collingwood has a minor basketball program. Brampton definitely does. Orangeville does. So basketball is starting to creep in. We don't have a full-size gymnasium, so we're on the outside edge of providing that. But Ethan's basketball programs that he's operating now certainly are one of our most successful programs. So that lends to the fact in the future of the presentation that we possibly could use a full-size gymnasium in the future. The other thing that's happening in minor sports in the themes is these private academies are popping up all over the place. So Orangeville has a private academy for basketball. New Lowell has a private academy for baseball. I believe Orangeville, Shelburne might have one for soccer. So as sports gets away from the minor associations, because it's getting to be too expensive to play sports, most of the families that are participating in sports have the money to participate in sports, and that's where it's leading itself towards these academies. They charge $10,000 to play baseball for the summer, and parents are paying it. So that's another trend that's in there that could take away, or it could take over sports. So the next slide is sustainability for sports. Some of the factors we're looking at certainly is the increase in subdivision and development in our community. But we're finding after 5 years of the growth, hockey is not supported. We're just not getting hockey players moving into the subdivisions. I believe Ethan and myself has maybe tracked 15 kids in that subdivision are playing hockey. Most of them went through his Learn to Skate program. They try it, realize how much the cost is and how much the travel is, and they come back to us asking for our programs again. So we're not noticing a lot of players in the subdivision playing hockey, but certainly basketball and soccer is increasing. So inventories. So when I say inventories, I mean facilities. That affects the sustainability of the programs. Aging facilities such as the arena we're not gonna spend 30 million to replace an arena when we're only got 970 hours. I don't believe you're gonna make that decision, but we might. So as long as we have inventories or the facilities, and we're limited a bit on the facilities, such as not the full-size gymnasium. We're increasing our soccer field, so we are working towards improving our inventories, but still they cost a lot of money. So that's another reason for the sustainability of minor sports. The capacity to offer the programs, we're going to increase that capacity this year because we have hired now Ethan, an assistant, to help run his programs. So that means we can now increase programming by 2 full days. And the programs that we are running, we can now basically increase the number of kids participating because Ethan has the support. So that should help increase the capacity, which would make then the programs sustainable. The next point is the community center at 50 some years old. We're going to have to make a decision on that. That's later on the slide, but the cost to replace it certainly, I think, is outside the reach of our community. And the last point is now with minor hockey allowing you to go wherever you want, organizations and amalgamations are now trending towards the regional facilities. Players are going to Orangeville over Shelburne and Dundalk. They're going to Collingwood over Dundalk in our area. So I think we're going to find when it comes to these arenas that the larger centers, the regional centers that can offer more are going to end up taking over minor sports. Recreation affordability, the trends and themes with that is certainly the cost of inventories to accommodate sports is now starting to exceed the municipality's capacity to afford. Again, I don't know how some of these municipalities are forking $300,000 into an arena operating deficit. So ours 10 years ago was 75. Now we're up to 160. So it's the cost of these facilities is certainly increasing more so than I think the municipalities can support them. Again, the cost of replacing our community center right now is going to be $30 million. So this is the point I kind of met before. When does operating deficit force the user pay, or does the community all of a sudden say, hey, why are we supporting these facilities? The user should pay. So when does the cost become too expensive for the user versus when is the cost too expensive for the municipality? So every year we try and get our budget down to whatever we can, as low as we can. Costs of some of these recreation facilities are certainly getting out of the reach of what certain municipalities can afford. And the next point for affordability is I'm pretty sure it's going to be necessary for us to partner on some of these larger inventories across multiple municipalities to make them affordable for sport. Can we afford an indoor pool on our own? Likely not. Can Shelburne and Dundalk support an indoor pool? Possibly. So those are some of the affordability. Little note I've got on the side with the arena. So in 2025, our ice revenues were $100,000. Our hydro bill was 56. Our natural gas bill was 10,000, and our insurance was 39. So on 3 bills alone, we are negative $5,000 in operation. So saying the ice surface deficit is 100,000 on right now 1,000 hours, we're subsidizing each hour by $100 per hour. Now 300 of those hours are programming, so 300, we're subsidizing 300 hours of programming specifically for the community. The next slide was one I did 3 years ago on sort of what population, when some of these facilities kick into place. I think it's still fairly accurate. But when I look at the arena at 15,000 population at 2, that number might be lower, or that population might be I would say we're probably looking more at least 18 to 20,000 to support 2 facilities. Now, depending on your demographics too, Port Elgin's talking about another arena, but I don't think Port Elgin, and I could be wrong, has the Mennonite population, has the demographics we have. So demographics certainly play into the future of these arenas. So projects identified in the current recreation action plan and the budget plan. These is the next 10 years that we're looking at. So this year, 2026, we're working on the sports field complex, the environmental impact study. I think Jim included that in the actual eco park. So we are getting some of that done. Engineered drainage and access and grading. Ken's been working on the access across the rail line. So we have been doing some work on this project already. I think the next step is we've heard back, we have to go through conservation. I think is likely our next step on that project. I don't expect it to be done this season. This is a project that'll take us over 2 to 3 years to build. Community Center Auditorium, we're releasing an RFP for the flooring within the next month. It needs to be done. The gymnasium's busy. We're running 2 birthday parties every Saturday, 2 birthday parties every Sunday, and Ethan's programming. And the floor there's the old original tile floor. So we're gluing down tiles weekly. So this is a project that definitely needs to get done. We're going to have that done this year. The playground and park development in Glenelg subdivision is in our hands now. Flateau has some work to do yet. They haven't got the grading done, and they need to bring it up to the first cut. So grass seeded and everything. So they have some work to do there, but they want us to take that over in a hurry because they're hooked into a playground purchase. And we'd like to get into the Norm Jack Park and start maybe getting it prepared for the grass cutting and get them working towards that too. So those are the projects for 2026 that we've identified in the action plan and the capital budget. 2027 in the 10-year plan, we will continue on building the sports field complex. We'll be finishing hopefully the Norm Jack Parkland, which is in the Flateau subdivision. And this year we have to do another community center structural inspection. And the last time we had that inspection, they identified some of the columns need replaced, but we never, our engineers couldn't find a company that dealt in wood structure. So we're going to take another run at that. So we know there'll be some costs coming from this structural inspection. 2028, we've identified the splash pad and pool filtration upgrades. Again, you'll have to approve this 10-year plan, but this is what we're working towards in the recreation department. Finish the sports field complex. 2029, if we have the new sports complex finished, then Memorial Ball Diamond, we're looking at a retrofit on that possibly. Again, all this needs to be approved, but the location of that ballpark does lead us into possible liability issues because it's too small for the activities that are played on it. And we have too much infrastructure around it. If a stray ball comes out on a home run, somebody gets hit, there are lawsuits out there that the municipalities were held liable for. So one of the plans we're looking at is maybe changing the ball field into tennis courts, pickleball courts. And if we make a decision on the arena in 2030 where can't afford one, one of the needs coming through one of the surveys is an outdoor skating rink. People want an outdoor skating rink. So that's something to look at. 2030, that's, I believe, the year that council, whoever's in at that time and whoever's taking over for me will make the decision on the Dundalk Community Center and its future. I believe at this point, I don't see spending $5 million on a 55-year-old building would be the right decision, but you guys won't have to make that and I won't have to make that one. 2035, I am trying to get some momentum behind replacing our facilities and some of the local facilities into a regional facility, because that's, I believe, is the only way you're gonna go. You're gonna have to have 3 or 4 municipalities sharing the cost of these big ticket items, or we're not gonna have big ticket items. Next slide is a picture of the sports field complex we're working on. That's the original layout that we had on the property that we own. Just a picture of sports court flooring. This is the playground in Glenelg Park that we needed, that will hopefully be finished this year once Flateau gets the grading and the first cut done. That's a drawing of the Norm Jack Park. So most of this presentation is for the open house we're heading towards. So this is kind of why I went to detail. Splash pad 2028, my thoughts are we would build it where the existing playground is, because we already have the filtration system, the building, and for the pool right there. So it's just a matter of moving some playground equipment. I think that's our best location. That could change in 3 years too, but just the plan going forward, that's possibly where it is. Ballpark diamond retrofit, if we go with tennis courts, pickleball courts, and an outdoor skating rink on that. That's just an idea that plays into some decision making in 2029. And there's just a concept drawing for a regional community center in 2035. So the next slide is, we did do a recreation survey, and it was completed in 2025. And I don't know if we've ever brought the specifics to council, so this is kind of in here. In 2025, we asked the public to prioritize 15 recreation inventories. So we listed 15 ideas, 15 inventories that other municipalities have. We asked the question, willingness to travel. We asked the question on current program satisfaction, interest in developing new programs. So we had 70 credible surveys. There was about another 45 filled out, but they were filled out by some of the kids, and I wouldn't say their answers were overly credible, but survey results that come back in, the top inventories ranked. So that's the next slide. An indoor pool was certainly ranked number 1 in the community. A full-size gym was 2. Soccer fields were a priority. Outdoor skating come in awful high. Splash pad, ball diamonds, beach volleyball, and then some of the other ideas that are a little outlandish certainly were down at the bottom of the survey. The interesting one, that willingness to travel, out of the 70 people surveyed, 65% stated they were willing to travel 20 kilometers, or they stated 20 kilometers was acceptable travel. So that 20 kilometers does play into a partnership with another municipality. Next slide, the program satisfaction. Ethan does an excellent job. It was not surprising to find that program satisfaction come in at 95%. Strongly enjoyed the programs. Programs development, the ones we listed, they were ranked back. Outdoor soccer, they're very happy with. Indoor soccer, they like. Summer camps rated high. A youth leadership course come back relatively high. Swim club, canoe days. So again, that's how they ranked coming back in from the survey. So the next summary in the presentation is the management slide, their management plan. So all I did was identify the assets that are now below 30% life expectancy. So these are some of the projects that will need to be addressed within the next 5 years. A lot of it's fencing. I'm not going to go through them all because you can read most of them there. Parkland assets, Drumore Park, Proton Station, backstop, ballparks. The facility assets, the big one is the Dundalk Community Center. On its age is below 30%. Community Center, the interior doors are original, so some of them are rotten down at the bottom of the frame. The ice surface certainly is getting below the 30%, it could go anytime. Side note, Grand Valley just spent $2 million replacing their concrete pad. The auditorium hall flooring, that's replaced this year. Coming up in the arena, the refrigeration condenser, plant condenser to be replaced in 2030. That's $120,000 price tag. Next, within so many years, it's another $120,000. So you've got 250,000 in two pieces of equipment plus the floor. That's why I'm saying you're gonna need to have a decision on whether we fix the old building or where we head. The Lions Pavilion concrete floor, some of these older facilities, some of the smaller assets. But Swinton Park facility has certainly passed its life expectancy, being built in 1901. Memorial Park Pool is certainly past its expectancy. We have done upgrades, and this isn't saying that this is done. We can carry assets beyond the life expectancy, but in asset management, you've got to identify your time span or your lifespan. So summary of that, that's only 26 items of 165 assets we've have identified in our asset or in my asset management plan. So we're doing pretty good. Program plan. This is just a summary for the public and summary of the action plan, Dundalk Community Center. These are the free sponsored programs we run. McIntyre Building, we lost our fitness. That wasn't well attended, so we're only down to lawn bowling. Swinton Park Community Center, they're running cards 3 days a week, and they have their senior fitness running there Mondays. These are the free programs or sponsored programs that we're running. In the picture, what slide? This slide here, I just added that there. So the pickleball group, because I'm not charging them as a seniors group, have actually collected $1,300 and given to the food bank, which was surprising. They showed me the card one day. So some of the free programs actually have a benefit to the community in different ways. Paid programs in the community center. These are the ones Ethan's running: learn to skate, learn to play hockey, adult skate, youth ball hockey, ladies ball hockey. That's on the ice surface. At the auditorium, he's running youth basketball, badminton, adult badminton, indoor soccer, and this play gymnastics course or class he's running, which is very well attended. There's probably 30, 40 kids coming every hour for that. So community parkland, he's running learn to play soccer, and now he's expanding into a house league soccer club within the community. So the program revenues, this is what we're bringing in from all our programs, 72,000 including the pool. So Ethan doesn't like when I measure programs by dollars and cents, but I said 72,000, Ethan, tip your cap. He likes numbers, and the numbers are good too. So I think we're doing quite well. Ethan's the envy of a lot of municipalities around, asking us how we're doing it because they just can't offer. A lot of the municipalities struggle to run. They're too small to run programs. Somehow we're doing it. So this is what Ethan's working on. He's going to try and run a leadership program. What that's going to be is a 2-week program where he brings in whoever he can get, 14 to 16-year-olds, run a leadership program that hopefully we can take these youth that go through it and help run our programs and help us in the future. Ethan's qualified to run this program through his education, so we're looking forward to that if he can get time and if the new employee frees enough time to do it. He'd like to maybe try and get into an environmental program that we can run in Holstein Park, because we're not really offering much in Holstein Park right now because we're focused on youth. But he'd like to try and get there and run a 2-week, come in, let's run an environmental program because that's what Holstein Park is. Flag football, he has run some flag football days. He'd like to expand it to an intramural program. And we've always said we'd like to try and run just the kids tennis program on the ice surface. That would likely end up going in the fall. this year. And the rest of the presentation is for the public. It's just a picture of all the parklands and assets that we are managing. So that's the presentation that I created for the open forum, and it's a summary of the three documents, the changes that were made from last year. I probably, when I go to the public, I would take the asset management portion out. I don't think the public need to know where our assets are. So any questions on the presentation and any questions on the plans themselves?
Excellent. Well, thank you, Kevin. That's a pretty comprehensive report. One thing I will note is that Holstein is spelled E-I-N.
Spell check.
It's a common mistake that a lot of people make. Any questions for Kevin on his report? Barb?
Thank you. And through you, Kevin, thank you so much. There's a lot to digest. And a couple of questions on page 16, the map of the Norm Jack Park. That was to have soccer fields. There's nothing depicted, but are there still mini soccer fields destined for that? Or did the landscape not, because it got reduced and there's
So-
insufficient parking? Can you elaborate on that? And I have just a couple of questions.
Yep.
So there still is a soccer field in there. It's in the top left section there, block 65.
Oh, okay.
It's still there, but yes, we've moved off. It will be a passive soccer field because yes, there's no parking. So if we took that field on for programming or anything for us, we wouldn't have the parking to run a program out of there. So soon as they live, like on that picture there, you see on the arc on the bottom right-hand side, there's only 15 parking spots is all they allocated for that park. So it took us away from being a community park back to a neighborhood park. So there is another section of that park that's up off the page that still has plans for another mini one in there, but we've changed our direction in working with Flateau on the parkland. We want them just to bring it up finished, and we will put, I think, the assets and the amenities in after.
Thank you. And I think this is where there's a current playground down in
Yes.
the hole.
They went ahead and put the playground in, but we are not ready to accept that
Right.
until they have accessible access to it,
Mhm.
which they don't. And there's an awful lot of work that needs to be done in there before we can even cut that grass, because the fill they put in there was construction fill, not topsoil.
So if I may
Yep,
continue, so you mentioned Flateau and you mentioned something about the Glenelg Park is Flateau is pushing for us to assume that park because they're looking to purchase parkland or like, pardon? Playground. They want to purchase a playground.
Yes, they committed to playgrounds to a company prior to, and now when they slowed down their build and the park's not done, the playground company is possibly holding them
Oh.
to it.
So it's playground equipment for this parkland. Oh, okay. Okay.
It's,
Thank you. I have a couple more, but I can.
Is there anyone else?
Else?
Go ahead,
I'll
Joan.
wait.
Go ahead, Joan, please.
You, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Kevin, for your report. On page 3, is just a quick question. If you could just tell me what that, so, can you hear me? Page 3, Dundalk has 10 standalone arena facility within a 30-minute drive.
so that's 10 ice surfaces, so buildings similar to ours, where it's a standalone ice surface itself. There is, what did I say, 10 arenas within 30-minute drive of same as our facility. So when they got rid of the residency rules of minor hockey, now you're not forced to play in ours. Dundalk children or our area can now go wherever they want. So if somebody else's program is better than our minor hockey program, they're gonna go somewhere else. And with it being a 30-minute drive, it's pretty easy to go somewhere else.
Okay, thank you. So they can go to Gray Island, they can go anywhere around. Oh, thank you.
Any other questions? Martin, go ahead, please.
Yeah, Kevin, yeah, I don't envy your position here in a catch-22, trying to build, the hockey. And then the survey says people don't mind going 20 clicks out of the area. So with all the rules, I used to hate the politics involved, but with the hockey, are you still allowed to maybe get a house league going without their permission? Like with the good work, taking advantage of the good work that programs are?
So Ethan believes that he can probably program another 5 hours in the facility. It's gonna be a lot of work and there's a lot of these outlaw, so I have been approached by an outlaw girls league wanting to start a team up in Dundalk. So the question was, would I have ice time for them? And I said, our policy states if you're a Dundalk organization, you take priority over any other non-residents. So I said, if you come in and you tell me you're a Dundalk organization and you can show sustainability, I said, we'd love to have you.
Okay.
So that's what's happening is these outlaw leagues are all starting up everywhere. There's outlaw minor hockey leagues, outlaw girls leagues.
Yeah.
When I say outlaw, I'm not saying they're
No,
100% legal,
be a good
but they're
name for
not
them.
legal under Ontario and Hockey Canada's association.
Yeah, so they're still insured and all that stuff,
Well,
which
they
is a
gotta
claim
get their
for.
own, yes.
Yeah, okay. May I have one more?
Absolutely.
We talked about this a long time ago with the rink, the arena, and on your travels, you saw a building and it was like an inside-outside building. It looked like a big barn. But it was an outside rink covered, and if it got stormy, they just roll down those. Is that potential for Dundalk? Because that wouldn't be 30 million.
Yep, so you can quickly go to the action plan for me. Can you do that? In the action plan on page, I didn't add this in, I could have. What's the program plan? Action plan. On page, this is what concept I have, and it's page 25. Action plan. So that little drawing there. So this is what we're dreaming for the future, but the outdoor rink off to the side. So Push Lynch has a beautiful outdoor rink. It's about 75 by 40 feet wide, steel structure. They roll the tarps down the side. They have a few dressing rooms, and it provides hockey for the small community without the big ticket price. So if it was my concept going forward, this is where I would kind of lead us towards. A full-size gymnasium would be the build on the front. If the arena survives the structural inspection, or even if it doesn't, I would suggest we put a bubble, the bubble sports field over where the hockey rink is, gets us our indoor field house, whatever. And because you have to heat the bubble field house gymnasium, if you heat it with geothermal, the byproduct of geothermal is cold, you would be able to run an outdoor rink off that facility. So, but is this in the plans for tomorrow? No, this is just in here for concept, thought, future, that we can say, hey, there is possibilities.
Okay, thank you for that. I do remember that chat we had, so I didn't see that there. So thank you very much.
Okay, any other questions? Jason?
Yeah, I guess more of a comment, maybe, I get the
the way the hockey's going, it's dying. When we talk about this big facility, I guess I struggle with why would we put into that anyways if they're gonna go to Orangeville? Why put into a facility if they're gonna go to Orangeville, Owen Sound? And then I guess the other thing is, and I know this is all just concept and we've talked about it before too. I just, what we've talked about here is 95% Dundalk, and that we're a long way to Mount Forest and to Varney. I struggle with that all the time when we come to this recreation, because I get hockey's dying, the arenas, they're going to wayside. But the first, when you ask the people here, we need an indoor pool, we need a gymnasium. Well, that's going to cost just as much as a hockey arena. And I get the arena's dying. I'm just saying, I don't know how you balance that. We have the new demographics in Dundalk. We have a lot of an older demographic, as you mentioned. I was glad you did, the Mennonite population. I don't know how that balances. I think it's more of a comment than a question, but I don't know if you want to comment on it or.
The balancing out is our commitment that we give to Wellington North. We gave them $1 million. We're paying for their pool. And now I heard this week that they're going to possibly reopen their old arena. So they're going to come to us for that funding guaranteed to help with that. So yes, it's unfortunate that Holstein, we can't provide something specifically in Holstein because we don't have the finances to support both Mount Forest and Holstein. So I think the balancing, I hope, is the fact that we do commit to Wellington North, that they have Holstein residents and Drumore residents and has full access to the facilities that they want to go to. Varney has access to Durham. Durham has never charged us user fees since I started. So we do have to look at those outside partners as value to each little community in the municipality.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I get it. I think we do have to, with all these things, take a hard look at more user fees, because if you're not going to support your own, if you're going to run off to go wherever, and I know hockey's expensive or whatever, soccer, then it's time to pay up. I think.
Yeah, I just to speak in addition to what Jason's talking about, the notion of we supporting Mount Forest is almost like you were talking about the regional center, right? Because I'm sure there's small centers like Drayton, Palmerston, Harriston, they all have their own arenas, but eventually some of them are going to have to, gravitate to a regional center. Barb, did you have some more questions? Go ahead, please. Oh, Jason, I assumed he was done.
So some of the conversation has also triggered the question about, well, the regional partnerships that we have to entertain in order to sustain recreation and culture, parks and recreation. And it never has meant to be a self-sustaining through user fees. The range, as you alluded to, the range of financial cost or the net cost over revenues is significant, but it's an investment into the community wellness piece. It's never meant to be a profit maker, although I think you mentioned in one previous meeting that the town of Erin has found a model, or someone has anyway. But I'm sure the user fees are quite significant. When you refer to community center and arena, they're the same building. I'm just, for clarity, we're not talking about a different building for those who might not know the facilities, who might be listening.
What I would say is I'm the only one probably within 30 kilometers, 40 kilometers that is even going down this path. when I say partner in building a future facility, I'm not finding the partners right now. Shelburne's entertaining it. No offense to the municipality to the north, but no one's even close to the progressive thinking that I'm presenting to you. So this multi-use facility is not replacing arena. If we get enough partners, it would be probably a double pad, hockey rink, full-size gymnasium, and indoor pool. To make that sustainable, that's a large population. That's Orangeville. So will we get to that size? We would probably need the north partners, the south partners, the east partners, the west partners have already replaced their facility. They've got a brand new facility and they're replacing their pool. So will it ever come to fruition? No, I highly doubt it because municipalities traditionally don't work together. So, but if somebody doesn't start entertaining how we're replacing these 50-some-year-old arenas, hockey's instantly going to die because no one can afford to replace them on their own. So, yeah, is it a pipe dream? Probably. And it won't be me building it and it won't be you guys in the decision. But if somebody doesn't start planning for the future, I feel sorry for the kids in 10 years.
Yep. And I do appreciate that your vision and you tend to think outside the box, and which has been so refreshing over the last decade that I've known. So I guess one of my question then remains is two things. The outdoor arena that your vision for an outdoor arena, would it be convertible in the summer to pickleball tennis? Or is it now a separate, I know I'm not trying to design the future park, but I'm curious because we want to make sure that, okay, we have an outdoor arena and there it sits empty for 5 months of the year, 6 months.
Yes, I wouldn't waste money right now building a pickleball court standalone. I've talked to a few people. Is pickleball a fad like tennis courts were in 1980? Is it all of a sudden going to die off? But if I was going to build a pickleball court, I would put glycol loops underneath it and a portable refrigeration unit. And yes, it would double as a skating rink, same as tennis courts. If we were going back to our community needs tennis courts, it would have glycol loops underneath it and it would double as the outdoor skating rink. If you're standalone facilities and standalone, I go back to playgrounds. You put a playground in a park, child plays on it for 5 minutes and gets bored. You just spent $100,000 on a playground that entertains a child for 5 minutes. If we don't come up with creative ideas that entertainment value lasts at least 15 minutes, then what's the sense?
Right. Splash pad. It's been on the books. We have people wishing that we had a splash pad, and I know that you had a spot picked out for it for potential, but isn't a community, I know that in our neighboring communities, the community or the Lions Club or Rotary or various organizations fundraise to help build those splash pads, and then the municipality assumes them. I know that Mount Forest, Arthur, there's another one come to mind. Is that part of the plan, or are you thinking that the municipality is picking up the tab for this?
I've already approached the Lions Club. So our Lions Club unfortunately is struggling with membership.
Sure.
And they can't get members coming in. And the discussion I had with them, I said, well, a lot of it's the fact that you don't have projects anymore for people even to see that we have a Lions Club.
So I said, maybe it's time you guys take on a project again and that, and my fire chief maybe not too happy with him because I told them not to fundraise for the fire truck, but maybe fire truck for these, or fundraise for the splash pad. So they are, and that was just 2 weeks ago, so I don't have any more on that, but
Planting a
yes,
seed.
I'm pretty sure it would be a great project for the Lions Club to start building themselves back up.
So plant the seed. And the only other thing is you mentioned outlaw leagues. And I remember this coming to council or neighboring councils a while back, Grey Highlands possibly. And they bring in players from out of country, billet them. And at the time, which, you know, number of years ago, they were ducking out on the bill. And so I'm just cautious about when we refer to these unsanctioned as opposed to outlaw, unsanctioned through the Ontario Hockey League Association, how reputable they are. And I would want to look into that, and maybe Jim can speak to it too.
I think the ones you're talking about were outlaw junior A leagues and that. I think
Yeah.
Markdale had the one and that were pretty, yeah, taking money in and then ending up disappearing in that. The outlaw leagues that Kevin's talking about is for minor hockey, and that there's the, what is it, the Ontario Rep Hockey Association and stuff like that. It's stuff that gets away from OMHH and the junior hockey. The one thing, if I could, oh, I'm trying to remember the little village that has the hockey program where it's not outlaw, it's just Rockcliffe. Yeah, thank you. That has just a fun hockey league, and I think they're pretty successful with that. Like, I think it's just once or twice a week they run that program.
Yeah, Rockland runs a pretty successful Saturday hockey. Ethan's basically mimicked a lot of what they're doing there on our Saturday program. So Ethan's running 8 hours on Saturday in our arena, but Ethan's expanded it because we haven't quite got the number of kids yet that Rockland has, because they started up early and they got momentum. So, and we don't really want to take all the kids from their program either. So Ethan changed a little bit where he runs a learn to skate. And he's got 2 hours of learn to skate. And then he's got an hour of learn to play hockey, which is very entertaining because we found equipment for about 20 kids that would never play hockey ever in their lifetime. And they go out and have a blast. And then at the end of the day now, he has an adult learn to skate program, which is a lot of parents that would never skate in their lifetime either, but have brought their child to the learn to skate. So yes, he has ideas to try and expand it to a house league if what we see, and I hope I'm wrong, but I can't see hockey correcting itself. Ethan has plans to kind of keep hockey here if we have a facility, but eventually what we're trying to run and what we're trying to do in the community certainly does not justify building a brand new arena. So it's, yes, we'll program the facility as useful as long as we can keep the building open.
Yep, go ahead. The one thing I will say, I'm kind of optimistic for the hockey. I know Elmira, especially with our Mennonite community, you're seeing more and more down Elmira. They're getting more modern and that, and starting to come out and play. Like Woolwich, there's a large group in there that play. Guys I know that are modern Mennonite, and their kids are playing. The one thing I want to ask you, the arena, and it's just and same with the pool. Collingwood, I think it's Central Park Arena. How's that? Because with the floor and that, they use sand, I believe, instead of cement for the ice surface. Is what, when I was talking with their one guy at the arena the one time, they use that. And same with the pool, they have that bubble over the pool. Yes, that's kind of towards the Walmart area there.
Yeah,
Like, how's that
they
value
built,
wise?
it's actually a hard substance. It's not a bubble, but it's the, whatever company makes the farm buildings that
Mm.
are out of it, but it's actually a hard surface and it's holding up pretty good. So that's, yeah, everyone's watching what happens with these facilities, but they seem to be holding up. Now, but I think the one in Collingwood that has a sand floor, I believe, is the old Eddie Bush downtown. They would have had the same problems as us. 70 some years old, the floor's no good. I think they pulled the floor out, put sand in. They actually keep ice in that one all year round. And the other one I think is seasonal, but I could be wrong.
Oh, I think, cause a lot of driving my kid over that way over the years. I do believe that both have the sand in it. And the pool, yeah, I know it's the coverall style building for the arena, but is it not a bubble type, but it's, same kind of structure over the pool, Collingwood.
Yeah, I believe so. I think they're having good luck with it.
And price wise, like, I don't know if you've ever looked up where they are price wise to a new, brick and mortar style.
I believe it's a lot cheaper. Yes, I haven't quite looked into it, but it's certainly, they're not gonna last you 50 years like a building we got now, but if it's a third the price, you can build it 3 times.
So, go ahead, Martin, go ahead.
Yeah, listen to the discussion. It's just a comment. Kevin, every time you bring a report, I enjoy reading it. I enjoy listening to you. I just what Barb has said. You obviously think out the box, and that rink idea up there, that's great. Rinks and soccer fields, I would assume they'd be called soft infrastructure, still needed. And they always have run at a loss leader, right? But no matter what we're talking about, there is another aspect to it, which we haven't, and it is the community and the health and welfare of the kids and even the parents meeting other parents. So there's money saved on the health system. So either way, if we pay for it, there's still so many things that come out from it. No matter how much it costs, it still has to be a big part of the community. So listening to you with all these ideas and Ethan's work, I think it's just great. So that's just my comment.
Yeah, we'll wrap it up. The mayor wants a question. We've talked a lot. We've talked a lot about youth sports, youth activities. What about old guys like me? I appreciate the trail network and so on. What about, could you speak a little more about the passive recreation, passive green spaces and so on that, because the demographics in the province, here in South Cape, it's a little bit skewed to younger, but typically we're an aging society. So could you speak a little bit more to that clientele, so to speak?
We're trying. It's hard to, unfortunately, us old guys don't last long enough to really change the decision making. It's sad to say, but
Well, that pretty well calls it off right there, doesn't it?
sometimes we find, yes, that's a morbid statement, but we get groups going on the senior side of things and we get success. Then we find that all of a sudden it changes and we lose that momentum. And then it's so hard because you think, hey, this is a great idea. Let's build around it. And then all of a sudden it's gone because that influential person isn't there to drive it. So we're really hoping, and our plan for the new person that we're hiring, that they take on 25% of their hours is to dedicate to seniors programming. So our thought process is the McIntyre building, why is it not open every day for seniors programming? Play some cards, shuffleboard, get together, grass outside, whatever. But it's
we thought we get momentum behind something and all of a sudden, unfortunately, our momentum was Elvin Martin. Elvin was exception. We got some momentum behind him and then Elvin unfortunately is no longer with us. So we lose that momentum. Then we're back to trying to start it again. So we're hoping that we can tie maybe our department in with the economic development department, that we bring back senior breakfasts or senior luncheons and get some community sponsorship or something to get the community coming together, that decisions can come out of it. But I can start a marathon if you want to run it.
Well, there's days I think I'm running one now, but I guess, and thank you for that, but I guess I wasn't speaking specifically to seniors. It was more adults, you know, parents, those kinds of things. There's opportunities for them to walk the trails or, you know, pick up baseball, whatever, those kinds of things. So just want to make sure that we're not forgetting that aspect of our community as well. Any other questions? Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor of receiving it? That is carried. Thank you, Kevin. So now on to the next report. How are we doing for time here? Well, we'll finish with Kevin's next report and then we'll have a recess. The next report is regarding the Swinton Park facility upgrades. Someone care to move that, please? Jim and Jason, thank you. Kevin?
So at the budget time, I had mentioned that I left Swinton Park out of the budgeting process because we were hoping maybe that we can come back and go this route here, that we can take some reserve funds and maybe address some of the issues. I had Phil walk through the building with me, and certainly the major issues is egress from the facility. The fire exit door right now down the hall beside the bathrooms goes out into a 3-foot step, and for us to put a ramp down there would be a 35-foot ramp. So we come up with the idea that maybe we'd be better to go out on the other side of the building, which is actually a ground level. A 6-inch slab would bring us up to grade without a ramp, and put a fire exit door where the window is. So that's a cheap fix to solve that problem. And if we take that fire exit out, as the drawing shows on, we actually then have room for a universal bathroom. This isn't the full fix, and it's, hopefully it gets us through. Phil thought at the time when he was there that this might get us through the next decision-making process. He was good about it because he said, yeah, you've got some issues outside this that possibly should be addressed, but certainly if we're going the step of 10,000 this year, maybe 10 next year or whatever to get them finished, Phil thought this was a decent start. So to me, I agree. We get the fire exit door, change that, get accessible bathrooms in there. That at least might keep us from getting a provincial fine.
Okay, very good. Any questions? I guess my one question was, in your report, it was a little bit confusing because it didn't match up too good with the diagram. I think your east and west are reversed, are they?
Could be. I have to read the report that I wrote.
The new fire exit is going on to the west side of the building, correct? Towards
But not
Highway
west.
6.
Yes, not west.
That's west.
Did I say east? I sorry.
Proposed plan is to remove the current fire exit from the west side.
And move it to the west side. Sorry, yes.
Yeah, so, all right, okay, all right,
Yes,
just,
I
just
got
don't-
east and west wrong.
that's fine.
That's
And
the-
I just wanted to be sure because the diagram was a little confusing, but I like your idea. I absolutely do. And again, I'll give kudos to the group at Swinton Park. They're trying really hard and they're doing a good job of getting people out, and that's all we asked them to do. And so I thank them for doing that. And safety, of course, is job number one, so want everybody safe. Any questions? Martin?
Just an idea that just came, what you talked about, the actual community group too. This 10,000, it's plus or minus. Is that just for the structural? Does it include the painting and because would that be something the community group would like to take and keep the cost down? Or would that go against our insurance or the tender you put out or whatever?
It might, like, we're doing the work.
Oh, okay.
So that's why it's like, I am not getting a quote on the 10,000. Where it could be less and I may be coming back here with a wee bit more, but if I don't get the project approved, I won't even get started. But I know the doors themselves, I did get a quote, so we will buy the doors from our door company. And they were, just the doors alone were 5,000 of the project. But taking out the existing window is our time. Building it back in is a wee bit of, some materials. It's a 40-inch opening and the door is 38, so it's a 2x4 on each side to frame it back in. And then if we can save the part of the wall we tear out, we may not be buying 2x4s. Like, we're hoping that, yes, we can get this, at least these two major accessible issues out of the way, that the wrong person comes in, we don't want to get shut down.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Barb, go ahead, please.
With regard to automatic doors, and was the entrance upgraded with the automatic doors? I know that was a discussion by the community, happy to hold the door open, but doesn't meet AODA requirements. You have to have an automatic door. Has that been installed, or can it be incorporated into this project?
Depending on if we have money left over, because we also have to, you'll be getting a report on the McIntyre building, which is 2 more doors. And we changed the accessibility at the arena. I need a automatic door there. So when I go to buy 5 automatic doors and door closers and everything, it may be incorporated this year, or it may be something we do next year and do them all. It's just, they're not cheap.
Okay. Okay, not seeing any further questions. I'll call the question. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you, Kevin. Okay, it's 10 past 10. 10 past 2 rather, sorry. Let's take a 5-minute recess. Okay, it is 5 minutes or so, so we'll bring the meeting back to order. We have a report here from Building and Bylaw Services regarding a K-9 bylaw amendments. Someone care to move that, please? Joan and Jim. And Hannah, welcome. The floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everybody. So this report, BS 2026-002, is a report seeking direction from council about making an amendment to exempt service animals from licensing fees under the canine control bylaw. Staff have reached out to other municipalities to see how they handle service animals. And the surrounding municipalities do exempt fees for the service animals. They do still require the dogs to be registered, so they still need a tag in the event that they get lost, so they can be reunited with the owners. But they have dropped the registration fee. There is an Ontario regulation, which is the 191-11, which does outline, as long as somebody can essentially prove that it is a service animal, it's up to the municipality if they want to waive the fee for the license. They don't have to, it's up to the municipality, but there is criteria for a service animal. What staff are proposing is, provided the owner of the dog can prove, in accordance with this regulation, the dog is a service dog, that the fee would be waived for the licensing. But they would still have to comply with all other aspects of the Canine Control Bylaw. They would also have to comply with the DOLA, Dog Owners Liability Act, and any other applicable regulations when it comes to canine ownership. It is just the licensing fee that we're proposing to waive. Any questions?
Okay, thank you, Hannah. Are there any questions? Barb?
Thank you. And just to clarify, proof of it being a bona fide service dog comes with some form of training and a certificate or some, because I mean, there's a lot of individuals who have animals that assist them in calming, but may not be and I don't want to exclude other service animals, but I mean, you know, the traditional one, the seeing eye dog and dogs that help with hearing impairment, but they come particularly trained. So can you just elaborate on what proof would someone have to have in their possession to have their fee waived, and would they have to provide that annually?
So under that Ontario regulation, there is essentially a list that was accepted for a service animal from a wide number of sources. Majority of them are from regulations such as the audiology body that certifies audiologists is one, and there's another of other medical organizations that have to provide in writing the person needs this dog as a result of their disability. Or the other option is if it's readily apparent that they require the service animal. So say someone came in with a guide dog and it's readily apparent it's a guide dog, then they wouldn't have to provide that letter essentially from, say, an audiologist confirming that they require that dog for their disability. They're the two options.
I see Monica's hand up, but I want to clarify a little more on that point that you just made and Barb raised. When you say it's readily apparent, who's making that determination? Like, I can just see at the front counter, somebody comes in and they have a dog. This is my guide dog. what is readily apparent? To me, that just sets up a confrontation that you're gonna have, somebody's gonna have, and I don't want to see that happen.
Yeah.
Those that are entitled to have a guide dog, their fees waived, absolutely. But I'm a little hesitant because I can see a confrontation coming. Can you speak to that, please, Hannah?
I can speak to it to an extent based on what the regulation states. So the regulation doesn't give any criteria for that. It essentially just has that one statement saying if the person, I can read it from the report actually, which is taken straight from the regulation. So it says, the dog is identified as one that is being used by the person for reasons related to the person's disability. So we wouldn't be able to question someone came in with a guide dog harness. We wouldn't be able to question that. We would have to accept that it's a guide dog under the regulation. We can't question it as long as they come in with a dog that has the appropriate equipment, if you like, that you would associate with someone who has a guide dog. We can't question that. We have to accept that as proof they have the dog for reasons of the disability, unless it's something which isn't, I guess, visually you can tell like a guide dog. They'd have to provide a
Right.
letter from, say, the audiologist or something like that, confirming the dog is required for reasons of disability under the regulation.
Okay. Well, if that's what it says in the regulations, then we have to accept that. Barb, and I'll come to you, Monica. I see your hand. I just want to,
Just specifically while we're on this subject, your attachment one, proposed amendments would be the requirement that the documentation from a regulated health professional clearly describes the dog being used as a service dog. It doesn't have to stipulate for what purpose under, for confidentiality, because I know someone who has a service animal who assists a child with epilepsy. They can anticipate when they're going to have a seizure and they lay on them, like to prevent them from hurting themselves. So,
Yeah.
some, as you say, some disabilities are not visible and can happen at any point in time. It doesn't necessarily mean it's constant. So I think that if it is our discretion to whether we waive the fees, it must be also our discretion to require some form of prescription or documentation that verifies this is a service animal for whatever reason. And it doesn't have to stipulate that.
Correct. Yeah. So the documentation, it doesn't have to go into a lot of medical detail as to what, the condition is, anything like that. It essentially just has to say, yes, the dog's required for reasons of the person's disability, and, I certify that it's a service dog.
okay, fair enough. Monica, please.
Hi there. Good afternoon, everyone. Just through you, Chair, just a quick question about how many would most likely be impacted by this.
I'll pass this one to Ken and see if he has any further insight. I don't know how many people would be impacted directly.
I know personally I've witnessed 2 of these
Oh,
interactions happen. So I don't know beyond that, but there's at least 2.
okay.
Yeah, through your worship, I would just add, it's probably not going to be
Sure.
a lot.
Okay.
As to what percentage, I would be guessing.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Martin?
Yeah, just a comment from what I've heard, and I agree with everything, and I think it's great. As I said, there's not going to be very many, but it is a gesture to them because of the disability. And I think your point was like, where does it end? Where does it, and that's why I hate to say it, but when we vet the people with further prescriptions and what have you, and all the, then we know there's the backup. And as you say, if they're obviously seeing eye dog, you can tell that. But I think you were talking more about the emotional animals, like where do you, well, no, but you can start there and like, so it's good that it's defined.
Yep.
So that's just a comment.
Okay. Any questions? All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you, Hannah.
Thank you.
Public Works Department, we have a report here regarding the Main Street West reconstruction awarding for the project. John's going to give that report, I presume. Is there someone that cares to move that? Jim and Martin, thank you. Floor is yours, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon, through the mayor. Yeah, this report is just seeking council's approval to award the Main Street West, Osprey Street and Ida Street reconstruction tender to Moorfield Excavating. The amount of 4 million, that would be nice, wouldn't it? $4,163,949.91 for the Southgate portion of that. Of course, there is the county portion of the road for Main Street. There were 3 companies that did bid on it. There was Moorfield Excavating, Cox Construction, and SMRS Construction, and Moorfield came in with the lowest bid price. And it is well within what we have budgeted for those projects. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you, John. Are there any questions? Barb?
Thank you. And any of these upgrades on Main Street applicable to the future MZO north or south that DCs would be eligible for this construction?
We would have taken any requirements into consideration for the sizing. I'd have to check the budget and if we use DCs for any of that or not, but
So the DC element, I don't believe was funded through this, but we could look at the new study when it's released to see if there's anything to cover.
Okay. Any other questions? Call the question. Anything further, John? Call the question. All those in favor? That is carried. I have an interest in the next item, so can you chair that portion for this one here, please?
Thank you. We will now move, oh, my computer just decided to. We'll now move on to the Finance Department 9.5.1, FIN 2026-013 additional grants and donations. Be it resolved that the staff report be received for information and that council approve a donation of $3,000 to the Egremont Count Optimist Club's 2026 Maple Fest. I have a mover and seconder, Jason and Jim. Taylor.
Thank you, and through you. Currently, we have 3,900 left in the fund of the 25,000 that was budgeted for the year through Policy 3. Egremont Optimist Club did approach me recently for the Maple Fest event that's going to happen next weekend. So they did apply for $3,000. I recommend that the $3,000 be approved. They did not apply in 2025. The last time they did, it was 2024, and we approved 4,500 at that time.
Thank you. Any questions? Well, it is their 30th anniversary and looking forward to it. So that would be April 11th and 12th. So Martin?
Yeah, just a comment. I think that's a great way to spend $3,000 for a tractor trailer turned into a mobile stage. Because down the road, there's so many festivals, like it's mobile, you can take it anywhere. It could even be a fundraiser, like a source of income for the club too, right? So it's money well spent. So I got no problem with it.
Any other questions? I'll call the question. All in favor? That's carried. I'll turn the chair back to the mayor.
Thank you, Barb. Okay, we have a report here from the Human Resources Department regarding council remuneration. Someone care to move that, please? Jim? John? Thank you. Kayla, welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. This report is a result of a previous report that came out. And also because of our policy, our pay administration policy, we are to review this 180 days prior to the election. I just wanted to touch on a couple of things. For option 1, as you can see, our per diems have kept up according to the market. However, the stipends did show a little bit low. So if option one were the choice of council, there are some increases that are recommended by staff. And in option two, what we used for the Southgate average 3 years is the stipend plus per diems, and that includes per diems for conferences. It doesn't include any like expenses such as meals or the the fee for the conference. So I think there was a little bit of confusion there because it doesn't match the 2025 remuneration report that finance did, but that's why, because that includes expenses. This one doesn't. This is just salary. And then for benefits, there are some options here. It compares what others are doing and then what the cost of the municipality would be. I did want to note for OMERS, the contribution is matched. So it would be a deduction for the counselor, but also then the township would match it as well. And I think those are all my points and I'll take questions.
Okay. It was just pointed out to me, thank you, Barb, that in fact, the resolution requires an option, 1 or 2, correct? So, Madam Clerk,
We're gonna do like a formal amendment to add that option after council discusses.
that's what we're gonna do?
That's what I thought we should. You can tell me now.
Oh, that's fine, as long as everybody understands that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, we thought that would be,
Sure.
we
can-
figured there'd be quite a bit of discussion, maybe
Okay.
not, so.
Fair enough, fair enough. So ultimately, at some point, we need someone to make an amendment to include either option 1 or 2. Okay, discussion, questions? Thoughts? Barb?
Get the conversation started. I am in favor of continuing with the status quo. I know that a base salary is less work, less administrative work. But in following some neighboring municipalities and the discussions around what's included, this meeting, is this meeting included? And then you run into, does it have to come back to council? Is it a town hall? Is it a council meeting? And some of them have hybrid where they're paying for committees, but have a base salary. And I think that just complicates things even more. I did note to Kayla that the mayor's average might be skewed because you were warden for 2 years and all of the conferences would have been paid through the county. So I think where it all lands was quite accurate. I do have some questions if you might be able to elaborate more on the benefits side of things, because you have group life and you have life insurance, you have group life, and you have dental, which are all separate. But when we spoke about it in 2023, about the cost, it being not equitable if not all members are eligible to participate because they might have a plan elsewhere or they've aged out or for whatever reason that might be. So if you could maybe touch on that a little bit. And I know the total cost of OMERS is 17,000, I think it was. Each member would be required to match their portion, which, we're talking $2,500 a year out of the remuneration that is, proposed. So thank you.
Okay, so as far as the life versus benefits versus dental, so group life is life insurance, which is 2 times your annual earnings, is what our life policy would be. The group benefits would be paramedicals, so chiropractor, massage, prescriptions and eye doctor glasses, that kind of thing. And then dental, is our dental plan, which also has a maximum annually. And our plan is all or nothing, like, if we do decide to add council, it would be all of council unless you already have a plan, and then you can opt out, but you can't opt out unless you already have your, a benefit plan from somewhere else. And that's just the terms of our current benefit company. I don't know if that answers your question.
It does somewhat. I think we don't have the value of that cost based on, I mean, insurance companies that provide these benefit plans make money. They're, you know, if it costs us $5,000, the employee likely is getting $3,000 worth of benefit if they use it. I don't know where the sweet spot is, but I do note that the total, if we were to include all of them, would be $60,000, which is about a third of a tax increase, a third of a %. Thereabouts.
Joan, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So Kayla, whether we do option 1 or option 2, the benefits will be the same added on to either one?
Thank you. So the benefit is a separate decision of which benefits council would like to add, and whether that's, it wouldn't be included in the remuneration, it would be on top of that.
Okay, so that's something separate. You have to, all right, thanks. I just thought there were.
So we could entertain 2 amendments, one to pick which option and another amendment to include or exclude whatever benefits. Any other thoughts? Martin?
Well, I've always appreciated the option 1. I do have questions about the benefits, obviously, but I would tend to agree with Barb about the option 1. It seems to work. We know what's covered. And it's more than fair as far as I'm concerned. Benefits. Kayla, you said if you already have some kind of benefit, whether it's government assistance or your own plan, would those be involved? Like they have the dental care from the government, right? You can sign up from Sun Life. Would that be considered a benefit as compared to if you're retired and you have a benefit, or you have a benefit from your wife or anything like that?
So I believe that you have to be the primary person for the benefit, so it couldn't be like your spouse's benefits, it would have to be your own. As far as the Ontario dental plan, I haven't done a whole lot of research on it, but I believe it's that if you don't have another coverage available to you, that's when you can sign up for that one. So because this one would be available to you, you would no longer be eligible for the Ontario one.
Any other thoughts? For myself, oh, sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead, Jason.
Well, yeah, I would agree. I get it'd be a lot less work for staff maybe, but the option 1, if you're at the meeting, you're getting paid for it or whatever. As far as the benefits, I'm not really in favor of them being added for us. We take this job knowing it's not a full-time job, and I mean, some weeks it is. I just, for me, I don't feel comfortable putting that on the taxpayers more, because there's a lot of people out there that don't have benefits. So as far as I'm concerned, I wouldn't be in favor of the benefit, but that's me.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, one,
Yeah, go ahead.
as far as the COLA too, for counselors, I'm not sure. It's only if, I'm not real comfortable with that either. We know going in, or that people know going in what it'll be, so I'm not real. Whatever, I guess we're gonna go with it anyway, probably, but I don't, whoever runs knows what they're gonna make for the next 4 years. I don't see why there has to be a COLA, but that's just me.
Okay, thank you. I was just gonna say for myself, I'm quite satisfied with the way option 1 has been working. I think we're all used to it. We all know what the expectations are, and it seems fine. As far as benefits, I tend to agree with Jason. It's full-time benefits for a full-time job. It's not a full-time job, or most weeks. I'll agree, not a full-time job. So if someone would like to add any other thoughts or make an amendment to whatever we think we want to debate further or vote on? Martin, go ahead.
Well, just the fact that it's 4 years for a term, Omer's like, I know you can't do the math now, but if you're only here 4 years, how much would you actually get when you aren't employed anymore and you have the right to take it? Is it worth the cost coming out of the stipend compared to what's going to happen if you only do 4 years? So, that makes sense.
Yes, it does make sense. I don't have the numbers. But yeah, it wouldn't, because it is more of a part-time capacity, your OMER's eligible service wouldn't be in full years. So it wouldn't be 4 full years of eligible service that you get. It would be based on, we would have to come up with a number of hours and kind of, that's how it is for our part-time staff as well. So yeah, it wouldn't even be 4 years of eligible service.
Okay,
It would
well,
be less.
thanks for that. As I said, I'm kind of clueless when it comes to this. So it really wouldn't amount to much then after everything's said and done. So why bother?
Yeah, I guess unless you had another employer that was OMER's that you can like merge it with, it may not be worth it. It's kind of a matter of opinion.
Jason?
Well, I was just gonna say on that, the benefits, I'd make the motion or the amendment that we opt out of them, but.
Well, how about we
Are we
take
gonna-
the- we'll
Okay,
take
I
the
didn't know if you were-
appropriate-
okay, sure.
Unless somebody adds the amendment to put them in.
I wasn't sure how you want.
Right, but we do need an amendment to pick either option 1 or 2.
Yeah, the way it's wrote about the benefits, piece, it says that direct staff if they're to be added.
Right.
So if
Okay,
it's status
okay,
quo,
that's
if
right.
we're status quo, then we don't need to. We need the amendment for option 1 or 2, but yeah.
Okay. So if there's no further discussion, oh, sorry, go ahead, Barb.
I just wanted to speak to the COLA piece, and while I agree that, you know, it's a 4-year term, the voters decide whether your contract's going to be renewed, and, you know, it could be whichever way you go, does COLA get added? But the reason COLA started to be added, and I think it was back in the last term, 2018 to 2022, was because the market assessment that came back saw us falling behind in every, you know, per diems and the stipend. And then there's a more significant catch up. This shows that just by adding COLA, whether we cap it at 2% or whatever it is, has kept our per diems competitive to our neighboring comparators, and, you know, and even maybe slightly higher. So whether it gets like, I'm not bound to it, but it does help when you come to set the remuneration for the next term of council, if you're pretty much in the ballpark.
Jeez.
But, why can we compare it to our competitor? They can't run in our township, so. We don't all have to be the same.
We don't.
Point. Okay, if there's no further discussion, I'll ask for a motion or an amendment for option 1 or 2. Please. Martin. Option 1? Okay, which is the status quo of the way we've been doing it? Okay, is there a seconder for that motion? Jason will second that. Any further discussion? Barb?
So does option 1, sorry, I'm just going back to the resolution to make sure that nothing else changes, other than like the policy will be updated to proceed with option 1. If there are any questions with regard to whether something is covered outside of, you know, whether it's a workshop or wardens, like that's all in the policy pretty much.
That's in policy.
There was a suggestion that there'd be an increase, and I just wanted to make sure that there were some differences, and I thought that they might be a little bit skewed because but then you answered the question that this is before any tech conferences, but does include conference per diems based on an average of what was attended. So the next term of council could see that skewed a little bit because all 7 members could go to conferences if they so choose. You know where I'm
With the limits of the conference.
right, no,
policy.
absolutely, but they weren't, you didn't take the maximum number of conferences eligible, you took an average of actual over the last 3 years.
So the recommendation of the amounts is actually based on the average of other comparators, not on our actuals, in order to keep us in line.
Okay,
There's also, I just want to note in the resolution, there's an effective date, so that council direct staff to proceed with option 1, in this case, effective. That would be. It'd be inaugural, wouldn't it? Yeah, so November 16th, 2026.
right. So it'll affect the final 2 months of this year, November, December.
So that we have as the amendment.
Yep,
Option
okay.
1 effective November 16th.
Okay. No further, Jason?
No, it's just a question. So when we submit our time forms, I mean, we know what we can and what we can't for, but sometimes I wonder if there's a gray area. You look at each one and
Oh,
sure
yeah,
that's,
yeah.
I knew you did, but I
I
just,
make changes.
yeah, yeah. Oh, I knew you did.
I let you know sometimes. I
Yeah.
don't. Yeah, no, we,
I just,
we,
yeah, I just wanted to make it.
everyone's mostly pretty good, or we'll get emails just with a question, so everyone's in line, but yeah, we follow the policy and change it if needed.
Just all depends on how much Lindsay likes you.
That's right.
No, I'm kidding. She likes everybody. Everybody likes Lindsay. All right, and further discussion. If there's no more, I'll call the question. All those in favor? That's on the amendment. Okay, that's carried. Absolutely. On the amendment? Is it? Because we're now gonna vote.
Yeah, I'll get it on the fine.
Okay, so now we're back to the original motion as amended. We have a mover and seconder. Any further discussion on the motion as amended? Okay?
Sorry,
Lauren-
just through you. I just want to make sure that there's not a further amendment for benefits or anything before we move
Okay,
forward.
I was, from the discussion, I was assuming there wasn't, but I'll give anybody an opportunity if they wish. Not seeing any, okay? We're now back to the original motion as amended. The recorded vote has been called. Oh, Joan has a question. Go ahead, Joan.
Yeah, quick question. So we're going back to the benefits, right? The benefits is not, we're not voting on the benefits right
Correct.
now. Okay,
Correct.
thanks.
No,
But if no one moves an amendment,
another amendment.
another amendment, then that means that we're status quo, that council does not get benefits. If someone wants to propose that council benefits be added to council, they would need to move an amendment now before we do a final vote on everything.
An amendment that benefits be added.
Which,
Okay.
which,
Yeah.
which benefits?
Which ones?
Which one? Oh,
Some
gee.
of them, all of them.
Which one? I was talking to Jim. Which one we were talking about, Jim? Sorry.
So there, the options are, there's OMERS, there's group life, which is life insurance, group benefits, and dental. So there's 4 possibilities there.
Group benefits.
One or none, or one, or a combination of them, I suppose, could be an option as well.
We were
Yeah.
talking about group benefits and dental, not OMERS and not group life.
Jim?
So the benefits, that's like, drug plans, and that if you need it. That would be the one that I would look at, but then when you see the cost. Yeah. But yeah, that would be the only one
Joan, you proposed the amendment. Which one were you thinking?
Group
Or
benefits.
Group benefits?
I was gonna add dental, so it.
Well, you can put both in the same motion if
Yeah,
you wish.
group benefits and dental.
Okay, is there a seconder for that?
Jim, the second.
yeah.
Jim seconds it. Discussion. Barb?
So that's an additional $40,000 a year.
What was it before? We took out the other two?
Right now, there's currently none.
The,
60. Okay.
for the entire list, it was 60,000. For group benefits and dental, it's 41,000 actually. Okay. No further discussion. Oh, Monica, go ahead, please.
Thank you. Just through you, Chair. Just a better understanding with regards to the cost. Sorry, just to the Director for Human Resources, Kayla, just wondering, just so I know this discussion happened last year. The cost is that different from what was discussed last year, where this could be folded into the current plan that employees already get? Because I remember it being a lot less expensive. Is this something different?
Kayla, please.
So this is our current premiums that I used to estimate these. I haven't reached out to our provider specifically. I made the assumption that it'll be the same premiums for council versus staff. As far as the cost, I can't specifically recall what we've talked about in the past. I don't think I've actually done an analysis with the detailed numbers before. I think this is my first time doing that exercise.
But this would certainly be in the ballpark, I think. Barb? Do you have a follow-up, Monica, or are you good?
Yeah, just a follow-up. Thank you for that. Kayla, just I guess the reason why I'm asking is that I just remember there's a number that was a lot less, that only if a counselor or council member did not already have insurance, and if and it was like very like pennies to the, not pennies, but I don't want to say the wrong thing. I'm just remembering the binder that we received during last budget, and there was some numbers in there that I remember seeing. So I, for one, I can appreciate costs and things like that, but I also do believe that it is important to, when you're doing a job like this, and while I do understand that people come on having an idea of what the costs are, things do change, and they did change for our council term when we started. And I do think that health benefits is very important. That if a council member doesn't already have it, because who is going to want to run for a position and not be able to have some sort of health benefits if they cannot get that on their regular, they're not able to do something regular because they wanted to do service. So it's going to close a pool of people who would want to be running, and then we're just going to have less robust candidates. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. I have benefits, so it's not an issue. But I'm just thinking about the future. So I don't know if there was a way that could be revisited, to see the exact cost it would be if a member should need it. Because that, again, maybe they won't. Maybe it might be only one person. So I don't want to like take it all off the table completely for the new council term. So I just wanted to know if there was any question, like information about that.
Okay, Kayla?
Yeah, I am confident in these numbers that I've provided for group benefits, like for all of it. Because it is based on our current premiums that we pay per employee. And it's a base amount. It's not base, especially the group benefits and the dental are set premium rates per year. Like it's not based on the salary or anything like that. There's no fluctuation that way. The only fluctuation is the group life, because it is based on your annual salary. But the other two are set premiums that are established each year. So that those numbers are accurate as to what it would cost today for us to add it to all counselors.
Okay. Joan?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Kayla, so even if it was 40,000, don't we as members would pay into it? So it wouldn't cost the township 40,000 because we're paying into it also, correct? No?
So that's an option. Currently, the way this is that the township would be covering the costs, but if that's what council wanted to do, they could also cover some of the costs, either 50% or the whole thing. That's up to council. But again, it is an all or nothing. Whatever decision gets made is for all 7 members.
Monica, go ahead.
So just to that point, so again, the $40,000 is based on 7 council members receiving insurance. Is that what I'm understanding? Or is that per
Yes.
person?
No, that's total.
Okay, so 7 divided, if we were to divide, I don't have a calculator, but divided by the 40, and then like if some, again, might be only 1 or 2 council members, a mom who wants to run and she has kids, I don't know, I think that sometimes we want to sound like we're wanting to not be people who are spending money. This is not about that. I think that there's a basic humanity that if there's something available in terms of health benefits that leaders that are doing a public service and this job, that if that's an option, that should be something that's considered. I just think it's basic humanity for anyone. And giving a inclusivity for people to run and be in candidacy for that option. So I like what Councillor John just said with regards to a possible creative solution that if it's this money part is such a big point, could there be an option for 50%? Or instead of it being a blanket, $40,000 is going to, because that's what it's sounding like, council is going to approve $40,000 for all the members. That's not what's actually happening. If someone is eligible, then we would have a better number of what that would look like. So I just wanted to have just to that point, a better understanding of the actual cost and, how much it would come to and if there was another solution.
Yeah. Thank you, Monica. I have Barb first and then Jason.
So. Oh, sorry. Thank you. And in 2023, we had this discussion during the budget deliberations, and it was $5,000. Kayla brought a report back as a result of a motion to find out what the cost would be, and it was $5,000 per council member, and 2 at that time would not be eligible. But we didn't know what that $5,000 covered at the time. It was just benefits. It was just benefits.
Kayla?
At the time, we didn't have dental benefits, so
Right.
it would have just been the health life.
Group.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, at the rate things are going and, the risk you take driving these days, group life might be a better way to go. Pay for your funeral costs, Kevin.
Here.
Well, we were talking about morbidity.
Meetings.
I know. I still struggle with whether or not it's equitable if 2 or 3 or 4 members or 1 member isn't eligible and the rest of council is getting a value that they're not entitled to. And I'm looking at the number of municipalities that you surveyed, and 5 out of 9, so 50% don't provide benefits. 4 do. Group life, 3 do not, and 6 do. So that's actually more common than dental and dental. I don't even see dental on the list. Sorry. Oh, dental at the bottom doesn't have a number. I guess that might be lumped into group benefits. Okay, so yeah. Yeah. So I think Jason was doing the cowboy math and it's for like $5,700 a person. And that doesn't include the group life. Okay, thank you.
Okay, Jason.
Well, that's, Barb kind of said what I was going to say. If you have benefits, you don't get these benefits. So in a world of being all inclusive, I don't know how that I don't know. To me, it's $40,000 that we're going to take of the taxpayers' money. So it's up to you guys. If you want to do it, do it.
Okay. So the amendment, we have the amendment for benefits, correct?
Yeah, so the amendments on the floor right now that the motion would be to proceed with adding group benefits and dental benefits for council members. That's how it's reading right now.
Okay. And your request for a recorded vote was for the main motion, correct, as amended? Yes, okay. So this motion, if there's no further discussion or questions, I'm gonna, oh, Jason and then Monica.
Well, that's a recorded vote on this one too.
Oh, okay, all right, that's fine. Monica, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I just, I'm not trying to labor the point, but again, this is not 40,000 on the taxpayer. This is, could be 40,000. And the inclusive piece is not necessarily, the inclusive piece would work because if someone is already receiving benefits and they're able to be on council and they're getting it through their workplace, but someone is on council and they cannot have any access to that, then this would offer them that opportunity to have that. And it would only be based on if they're eligible. So I'm not looking to put $40,000 onto the taxpayer's head. I am looking that there would be a basic humanity because we are in a time right now where things are up and down for many different people and anything can happen to anyone on council during their term. Something that's there that they would not have to either leave their seat or if they wanted to run, this would not be a hindrance to that. And again, I have benefits. It's not about me. I'm just really wanting that to be very clear that this is not just a blanket, someone wants 40,000 added on. So just wanted that to be very clear.
Okay, thank you. Barb?
But the potential is 40,000 if all members in the next council are eligible. Depends on who gets on council. And the potential is there for 40,000, but those are today's costs, maybe not next year's costs. So it's going to be at a minimum, it could be a maximum of 40,000 if all members were eligible for the group benefits and dental.
Correct. Jim? And Martin?
So would we be able to move it? Cause yeah, there's a part of me that wants to have it for, in case, we're all getting older, as it's been said. And if somebody was to, well, not you, Brian, you're as youthful as the day is long.
Okay, move.
It would, there's part of me, if somebody ran into a cancer issue or something, and that can be, having gone through it in a family member years ago, it is a stressful, and the medication. Would we be able to put an amendment where it be half and then where you'd pay half of your?
I'll ask Kayla what the possibility of that happening is. Do we have the ability to choose how much we contribute as counselors or employees for that matter?
I believe so. I'd have to double check with our provider, but I believe other municipalities do that. So I don't foresee it being an issue, but I'd have to confirm with them.
Right, okay. So an amendment to the amendment is in order if that's what you wish, but but I have Martin first and then Joan, or Barb rather, sorry.
Yeah, this might not be pertinent directly to the report, but if a councilman, and you don't have to answer if it's not pertinent, but if a council person is on township business and by some unfortunate accident, is there a life policy for being killed in the line of duty, I guess?
Nope,
No?
nope,
No, okay.
that's what your group life would give you.
Oh, okay. But there's nothing existing now.
No.
Okay.
Okay. Barb?
So I'm wondering, I don't know that we can actually make an amendment to an amendment to talk about, well, we could technically, but we don't know what the answer is. Would it be acceptable to defer the decision on benefits to the next meeting? I know it's 180 days, but that's the remuneration piece, pending information on whether a member could contribute 50% of the cost toward receiving the benefits. I think that's where you were going. And and or opt out of it entirely, whether they had benefits or not. So I think those are two questions that I would want answered as to whether or not I could choose to pay into it. So if it's going to cost 5,700 and it's going to cost me personally 50%, I could choose, do I want to do that, or do I want to take that 50% and pay for my dental when I go to the dentist?
Kayla?
Now, under our current plan with our current provider, you cannot opt out unless you already have, you are the primary holder of another benefit.
Okay.
So I can't see it being different for counselors because that's our current plan. And as far as the paying into it, I would imagine it's more up to the municipality if they plan on getting money from like their employees or their counselors rather than the provider. I would just want to double check, but I don't know if that should hold up the process. If for some reason there was a hang up, do have to bring back another report anyways because of the remuneration to the next meeting or a future meeting. So I could always bring that up if for some reason it was a hang up, but I don't anticipate it's going to be.
Barb?
Does that add more administration though to payroll by having to have a deduct? I guess it would be whether or not there's a box that could, a deduction amount, and it would be set at the beginning of the year, and that's the amount that comes off your pay in order to pay for the benefits.
That's right. It would be probably twice annually because our renewal date is November. So when our premiums change in November, we would have to update the amount, and then after COLA or something, we may have to, but.
So by asking to include the benefits, those two, and asking counselors to pay for half, you're now introducing an expense, because as Kayla says, it's all or nothing. You're now introducing a potentially $2,500 expense for a counselor who doesn't want those benefits. Am I correct in that?
Yes.
Right. So just bear that in mind. Okay, any other thoughts, questions on the amendment to,
Yes.
I'm trying to think.
No, right now we're just on the amendment. The
That's what I
amendment
said.
is the amendment takes precedence, so it's on the floor
That's why I say,
with how Joan and Jim moved it,
right,
which is to add group benefits and dental benefits.
very good. Joan?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So what you're saying, Kayla, is even if somebody don't want it, they have to pay into that half of it, the $2,500, if we were to split it in half. That would not be fair to them, so might as well we'll see how it goes.
Okay. Any other thoughts on the amendment? We're voting on adding the amendment, or adding the benefits of group benefits and dental.
So just a question.
Am I correct in that?
Mm-hmm.
Monica, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Just so, just for clarity, so the amendment for the 50%, that's off the table.
That amendment was never on the table.
Okay, and so
The
now,
only amendment on the table right now is to add group benefits and dental benefits for council.
okay, thank you.
That's what we're
Sorry for the
gonna
confusion.
proceed to vote.
Sorry for the confusion. I thought that motion had already been
No,
changed.
okay,
Okay,
But we're just voting on that.
that's correct,
just
yeah.
add.
And you requested a recorded.
Right,
vote.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Barb?
So is this a taxable benefit? Are benefits and dental paid for by the municipality a taxable benefit? So it gets added to your, no?
I believe it is long-term disability and accidental death and dismemberment are through the CRA rules are taxable benefits, but health benefits are not.
And none of this includes short-term disability or dismemberment, or you're in a car accident and as Martin puts it.
Couple it.
No, no disability insurance through this.
Is the disability insurance part of group life?
No.
No.
No, we didn't include, I didn't include the long-term disability. I can look into it, but I'm not sure that counselors would qualify for it. Because it's to replace your income if you become disabled. I don't know, I'd have to look because it's not like a
Right.
full-time position and our short-term disability is in ours.
Okay. All right. So we're back to the amendment to add group benefits and dental. It's been moved and seconded. A recorded vote has been asked for. I will ask the clerk to take the poll, please.
Thank you. Mayor Mellon, through your recorded vote was called on the amendment. I'll read it again. So it's be it resolved that council amend the fourth clause of the motion to proceed with adding group benefits and dental benefits for council members. Mayor Mellon,
No.
Deputy Mayor Dobreen,
No.
Councillor Rice,
No.
Councillor Ferguson,
No.
Councillor Shipston,
Nope.
Councillor John, Councillor Singh Soares.
Yes.
By a vote of 5-2, that has failed.
Okay, thank you, council. Now we're back to the original motion as amended. Any further discussion? Not seeing any, I'll ask the clerk to take the poll as a recorded vote has been requested.
Thank you, Mayor Mellon, through you.
Sorry, Jason has.
Can we just hear it again, just to?
Yeah, so,
Good.
so
It's good.
Well, I think I know, but.
So it's basically, it's just the second clause we amended. So it's be it resolved that the reports received for information that council directs staff to proceed with option 1 effective November 16th, 2026, which is inauguration. That council directs staff to make appropriate updates to policy 21. And there was no further direction on that third clause. So it just kind of or the fourth. So it just kind of becomes a moot about the benefits because no changes were made there.
Okay.
Quick question.
Yep.
Oh, Monica, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. So just through you, again, just for the option 1, which I'm in favor for, is that means that everything is the same just about the conferences. Is that staying the same or is something's changing with that? Because there's so much
No.
discussion. Oh, okay.
No, that's okay. Yeah, no, nothing's changed there. This is just setting the remuneration for the next term of council. And so there'll be a few little housekeeping amendments to policy 21, but no, not to policy 2, the conference policy.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, oh, Barb.
And just to clarify that the new amounts are before COLA at January 1, are listed as proposed on page
2 or
3. Was that stipend rates? Yes. At the stipend rates and the base salary is on page 3 at the top. Is that correct? Mayor, deputy mayor, councillor as the stipend and the stipend rate, the per diem rates are being adjusted very minorly.
Yes, sorry, I'm just making sure that I'm saying yes to the right thing. The per diems are not changed. They are the current 2026 rates and will remain the same. We're not adjusting them because it was just like within dollars. The stipend rates there is a change there, and that's what I would be proposing. I believe you would have an opportunity when I bring forward policy 21 if there was any further amendments to that.
Okay. Madam Clerk.
Okay, a recorded vote was called for the main motion as amended. Does anyone need me to read that again? I don't think so. This is for option 1. Councillor Rice,
Yes.
Councillor John, Deputy Mayor Dobreen,
Yes.
Councillor Singh Soares,
Yep.
Councillor Shipston,
Yes.
Mayor Milne,
Yes.
Councillor Ferguson.
Yes.
By a vote of 7-0, that's carried.
Very good. Thank you, Lindsay, and thank you, council. Is there any notice of motion? Okay, consent agenda. You can see that there's a number of items there for your review. Does anyone wish any of those items to be removed? Barb?
I'd like 11.4 and 11.12 holds 11.4 just for discussion.
Okay, anyone else? So the motion is be it resolved, the council will receive the consent agenda dated today, save and accept items 11.4 and 11.12 for information. Someone care to move that, please? Jim? Martin? All those in favor? That is carried. Okay, 11.4. 11.4. Oh, I just wanted to mention that, and thank you, Barb, for pointing this out. I just wanted to congratulate Corey on the tremendous job that he did. There he is. Do you want to add anything to that report, Corey?
Nope, just it was another 100% report for our water system. We have a great team in Dundalk. It takes a full team to get that sort of achievement, so congrats to the whole team.
Well, absolutely, Corey, and I think it's feather in your cap, so to speak, and your team for the tremendous score that you got there. That's great. And again, we can be sure that the water is safe in Dundalk. So I'll move that we receive that. Is that allowed? Okay.
You need a
Barb,
second though?
Barb's got a second.
So I could,
Oh, well, somebody move it.
I'll move it.
All right, I'll second. Let's be crazy today. Any
Crazy
further
with a
discussion?
fuck up.
All those in favor? That's carried. Okay, 11.12. Barb, you had,
So I had asked to have this item pulled. It is the Oro Medante resolution to request that the minister advance measures that will strengthen protections for municipal workers and contractors when they're out plowing, grading. I think it's fairly self-explanatory. So I would move that we receive the correspondence for information and that we lend our support to the request and ask the minister to advance measures that will strengthen protections for municipal workers and contractors as they are for police, fire, ambulance, and that a copy of the support be circulated to those that were on the list, but updated to include our MPP, Vickers, and Simcoe, Gray, Brian Saunderson.
very good. Is there a seconder for that motion? Jim, thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you, Barb. General announcements. I just have one. I'll start off with. I want to congratulate Paul Stevenson on getting his CRS, Certified Road Supervisor from the AOR's organization. He was presented with his certificate down at the Good Roads Conference just 2 days ago. Yeah, Tuesday, wasn't it? Or was Monday? Earlier this week. John was there, I was there, Jim was there, and Jim, yeah, both Jims were there, so it was good. Anyone else have any general announcements? Barb?
Just a reminder that, well, first of all, happy Easter to everyone who celebrates this weekend. Nichols Maple Syrup is having their Maple Fest this coming weekend on Saturday and Sunday, but the Holstein Maple Fest is celebrating its 30th anniversary, which we mentioned earlier, and that is April 11 and 12 in the village of Holstein at Love Sweetness Sugar Bush. There are still volunteer opportunities available if you just want to let me know.
Okay, thank you, Barb. Anyone else? Okay, moving on, we have a bylaw to be considered. There's the election sign bylaw with someone, well, the motion is be it resolved, the following bylaws dated today be read in first, second, and third time finally passed, signed to the mayor and the clerk and sealed with the seal of the corporation and entered into the bylaw book. They only have one, which I said was the sign bylaw. Someone care to move that, please? Martin, thank you. Seconder? Joan, thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor? That is carried. Closed meeting. Be it resolved that council proceed in closed meeting at 3:25 in order to address matters relating to personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, specifically an HR matter, and litigation to potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board, specifically potential litigation, and that all those required remain in attendance. Someone care to move that, please? Martin and Jim. All those in favor? That is carried. Council will now resolve. Okay, we are back in open session and I can confirm that we only discussed those matters which were listed on the closed meeting agenda. Confirming bylaw. Someone care to move that, please? Barb and Jim, all those in favor? That is carried. One motion left to adjourn. Jason and Jim, thank you. All those in favor? We're adjourned. Thank you.